Oh, no, we're the people. Live chat. Oh, we're back. All right. What's up, fellas? I don't expect many people, to be honest. I'm just trying to get back used to the old Discord. So we'll get a little more private session this morning. Still have news at 10. I was looking at this first presented. That's going to be a pretty good setup, honestly. But as I said, with news at 10, I'm fine sitting out of that one. But we wicked through lows at 9:30. Displacement through a high. First presented is there. So that's a nice little framework to reach for the 8:30 setup or the 8:30 open. We back, yes sir, we back. Honestly, I did like Discord better because I can listen to my own music. I don't got to worry about copyright stuff. I think it's quicker as far as the actual like response time as well between what I'm saying and what you guys are hearing. Zero lag. Yeah, that's nice then. I like that. So we'll see what we get at 10. I still favor longs, to be honest, but once again, really like we've been talking about, we did get a little release yesterday, which is nice. But what's really been taking place is like overnight we'll run up into kind of buy side objectives and then consolidate into the opening. That's what we get once again. So we hit the high of that daily fair value gap after falling short yesterday. On a daily sense, I think we'll close above this, which if we do, we've already closed above its midpoint. So my attention now is back towards these relative equal highs. Huge expansion. We'll see if that continues. So longs will be kind of what we're aiming for today. See midnight. Yeah, perfect midnight delivery. Yeah. We'll be aiming for this high. That'll be the target. Hopefully we don't run straight to it. So what I don't want to see honestly is like if we're gonna have news at 10, hit 8:30, give a retracement, retest the first presented again. No, I'm not. All right, we're there. Let's see. You probably have. If I didn't have, yeah, that's why. Right, my adjust. So in a daily sense, have it off, you get above. Have it on, you don't. So I'm definitely gonna keep, and I always keep that on. And I would definitely keep it on now just because it'll give us targets. Without it, we're kind of aimless at the moment. Let's see what we have. So we have the daily. We have 4-hour equal highs. Oh, you good, you good. We'll actually look at this 4-hour fair value gap too. Could hit some rejection there. Okay, a few different buy side targets. A little aggressive up here, but at least this buy side. So I want to see something honestly to where like 10 o'clock wicks back into this, respects it, and then I would try to use that if that was the case. Like if we had a candlestick that came back down into this, created a swing low wick, and respected that, I'd actually just try to enter on the retest of it with whatever swing low being the protected low. But that's if we don't just run. As we said, we might just run because this right here was a pretty clean setup. Consolidation heading into 930. 930 wicks perfectly into the midnight level, digging down into the daily fair value gap, picking up liquidity. Displacement through highs, leaving first presented. And then from there, easy run higher. As we said, 830 will probably be a magnet. So we'll see if we can't hold that. Maybe consolidate heading into 10 o'clock. Because then we can kind of engineer some more buy side near the external range high before giving a retracement. And Q is kind of range bound, so that's nice. Is that we did hold its first presented, so kind of the same setup, right? 930 runs into previous day's high, wicking lower. Oh, don't worry, I got you, dog. That's funny. That's one thing with the Discord, you can get others talking in it. I love that. Can we go 2 shoot? I don't mind that, yeah. I'm not even sure if we're really engaged today, as I said. I just want to get back into the swing of the old Discord group. But yeah, we'll go a little 2 for this morning. Oh wait, NQ's already there. Okay. We'll go ES left. You like side by side or top bottom? Always? Sure, yeah. We can just keep NQ smaller. Oh, we're about to run straight for that. All right. So if we do that, we're going to have to reassess. Man, that would have been a nice trade right there. That's all right. Missed move. Easy to read. Happens, right? Don't need to be involved in every swing. But because of that, if we're going to run into this buy side, I almost would try to take a short back into the first presented. We'll see what 10 o'clock gives, because if we do displace through this high, then maybe we can actually continue with that bullish delivery. I need to make it to where it's not the same date range, so there we go. So there's the buy side we've already hit. Okay, interesting. NQ far away, which is why I'm saying if we do get some type of break lower, I think I'd rather try to go for a short-term retracement. Short. Still got about 4 minutes though, so nothing until that news drops. I am, yup. I didn't remember that. That was the one thing I was bad at. We got it though. Yeah, that might have been it. Hey, that was a clean setup right there in both. Displacement, new day opening gap, or opening range gap. All right, so if we're gonna go short, what would we look for? Honestly, I'm gonna go like inversion here with volume imbalance, so we could use that. Close underneath that after running buy side. Potential pullback. Don't even need, you can just go ends model. Couple more minutes though. That is one thing that's nice about YouTube is it automatically records. I wish it would do that with Discord somehow. Alright, we're back. Get the morning drink. Remind me, honestly, I wouldn't mind that. You should, just in case. I'm sure we'll be good about it for the first few streams, but eventually I forget. All right, 10 o'clock about to come, so let's see. If we end up creating SMT here at the highs, as we said, displace below, honestly, I would want to see kind of one more run. YouTube model would be a little bit cleaner, so another run and then the break. We'll see what it has to offer us. Okay. So yeah, if we could hold this, run out this high, reject that high, get underneath this fair value gap, I'll actually try to use that with whatever high got put in here. If we hold this and just accelerate and close above this high, we may have to actually start targeting up here, though, as we mentioned. Because this is what will hold price, in my opinion, if we want to stay bullish. Now that we've gotten above 830. NQ reaching for that high as well. So if we kind of negate that SMT. Yeah, we just hold instead. Okay. So one-sided off the opening. Stay bullish. 4-hour fair value gap. 4-hour swing point. Volume imbalance, no wick. Might just run without us, because at this point I'd want a retracement if I'm going to try to go long. We create a fair value gap here. I think that'll probably end up holding. Creating one large breaker here, right? The original consolidation, we create that buy to sell model where we've cleared that at 930. So on like a higher time frame, right? This is going to be a bullish breaker up here with the lows up to the high to the lower lows, holding midnight perfectly, displacing through that high. That would be an aggressive entry here. It's already 5 handles. So I'd watch this if we're going to wick the buy side the first time, trade through the buy side with displacement, leaving the fair value gap open while NQ displaces above its 830 as well. And it just cleared that high. So I think we'll actually get continued bullish delivery. So yeah, we would expect this to hold. and test the 4 hour if we're going to want to stay extremely bullish here. May come all the way back down into the buy side, but I think if this is going to remain strong, it'll be like an institutional order flow entry. So it won't even make an attempt into the midpoint here. If we're going to follow kind of this displacement speed. So say we want to get to the 4 hour, where would the low be? If we were going to enter here, it would have to be really below the candle that creates the fair value gap. To be extremely tight, you would go right under the fair value gap, but then you won't allow much room for a mistake. Okay. So yeah, that should hold. We should run. And then we should get into... Nice, okay. So you said I'd like to see this one hold. Push higher. Entry on the fair value gap. New 5 minute just opened. There's a volume imbalance as well, so that's nice. So if we look here, we have the oh shoot. Whole time I'm not even on the right screen actually. That's one thing I forgot. I have to actually manually change the screens because it's not on OBS. Alright, one sec. Oof. Wait, how do we even do that? Okay, you know what? We can't do that. I did get long here, and I thought we had that screen open for the actual trade evade. But you guys are only seeing one application every time. So I'm just going to always have to use this. We'll just do that, so I'm not flipping back and forth. So I took an entry right here. I've entered this swing low. So if it comes back down, I'll just enter to show. So I'm entered right here like this. Stop below the fair value gap to go for the 4 hour up here. We could retest this multiple times. Ideally, I'd almost want to leave a 5 minute fair value gap, and then that could be used. I would expect that to be used. I'm putting the swing high here. So after putting in the swing high, we could see the retracement to even pick up this low. We could allow that. As we said, the 5 minute, we have about 2 minutes until it closes. So if we're going to form some type of 5 minute fair value gap here, that would be ideal, which means we'd want to see this 5 minute pretty much remain above the buy side for the time being. Could retest this actual 1 minute though, right? That's fine. As long as we have some type of inefficiency. So the low of it's going to be here. Just kind of seeing if where that 5 minute, as we said, we've opened with an actual volume imbalance. So best case scenario is we create the 5 minute fair value gap, and this candle will actually close bullish, so it can keep that 5 minute volume imbalance open. If it were to close in, it would just be a little bit less likely. Closing in the higher time frame discount potentially, but we could still see. Failure to swing, so maybe slight consolidation, as we said, waiting for the 5 minute candlestick to close. We have 1 more minute. We kind of like this formation here. It may just want to run straight for it, which is fine with us as well. I'll probably give it, I'll just go for 6 to be honest. So I'm going to get out here. That's the target for me. With the expectation we'll draw into the 4 hour, but right, for me, we don't need to have the precise exit perfectly. So easy target, expecting 4 hour to be traded into. Just catching a continuation. We'll get out at 6 actually. 6 handles there. We're out. We high tick that candle again. Holy cow. Okay, I need to show you guys. Yeah. Bear with me. We'll be a little more clean next time. I think what we'll do is we'll just always enter on one chart, and I'll just have to show you guys that. Treat that as my actual chart. But real quick, we'll change the stream. So let's see. Because you guys want to see this one. Okay. Is that the right one? Okay, yeah, you're seeing this one here. So as we said, right, the expectation was I was going to try to go short if we inverted this, but the displacement through the actual high, leaving the fair value gap at 10 o'clock, to me indicates it's going to want to at least make another short-term push. And like I said, I like this 4 hour up here. So we get in, swing low, and then we get out on the swing high. We end up high ticking that candle actually perfectly. A little over 5 handles, right? So just 620, 23 to 620, 29. Still expecting here and here. As we said, the 5 minute now has closed, so the 5 minute creates that fair value gap exactly almost where we had that marked. So if we were going to come back into it now, we have a 5 minute here as well, so that should hold price. Because not only is it a 1 minute, but now the 1 minute and the 5 minute are pretty much overlapped. Short-term low there. So if we did do that, we should hold, but we might just run straight for it. Get into the 4 hour there. Look for another run higher. Yeah, 5 minute would be valid entry again if we were to come back down into it. And now I'd honestly go stop under this buy side because the 5 minute is what I'd want to hold. So I wouldn't want to see a retest of the 5 minute, if anything. If we run into the 4 hour from there, I would like, what would we like from there? So we're gonna hit the 4-hour inefficiency. Large bullish move. No wick on this candle at all. I wouldn't mind a retracement, honestly. Weekly candlestick, extremely, extremely bullish. So honestly, I'm almost looking for TGIF today, which will be an afternoon thing, but just so you guys have an idea. All right, let me go to this weekly candlestick. Oh, gotta hide all this. Don't care weeks, months. Okay. So far, I mean, look at this weekly candlestick, right? That's absolutely ridiculous. It's the largest weekly candlestick we've actually seen since the 7th. But all one-sided delivery since the opening. So if we're going to kind of hit that 4-hour, I wouldn't mind a retracement. Some type of retracement, right? Even in here, you can see we've only had 1, 2, 3, 4 down close candlesticks all week. That's actually kind of crazy. Wow. About time we get a movement, though. We were stuck in a range for so long. That's kind of what we expect, right? If we're going to break that range, it's going to be reaching. But at this point, I wouldn't mind tap of the 4-hour and the retracement. We use the daily as the inversion. That's nice. Just ran that short-term high out again. Honestly, wouldn't mind a retracement into the 5. Hold the 5. Push up into the 4-hour. We've engineered some short-term liquidity. We could pick that up and hold this inefficiency still. Two different ways you can go about engaging with this. You can go on the first tap. I like to call those, right, high risk entries because you're not really getting confirmation. It's more of a turtle soup with the expectation 5-minute holds. Or you can wait for like a confirmation type of entry, which would be we come back down into it, maybe pick up a low, close back above it, and then look for the retest to hold. Right, so either something like that, or it'll create like a swing low in here, and then it'll run that swing low again and break. These ones are a little bit better. Right, this type of framework and structure, because it's creating the short-term liquidity sweep within its own price leg and then using the original higher time frame, right? So I always like that for confirmation. But because we are so basically close to that 4-hour, ooh, is it bad? It might be actually. Let me see what it's looking like for you. Oh, it's because it's all tiny. Hold up. This is why we did this, right? So we figure out how it used to work. So I think if I make it big screen, does that make it any better? Or is it still cheeks? Oh, it's actually because it's on 720, 30 FPS as well. Yeah, it was in the miniaturized screen. So, okay, so I need to have it. Yeah, so I'll probably just have one monitor be purely for the stream, execute only on that, in sync with what I'm actually doing on the funded. That way it's a little bit easier. For now, we'll leave it like this though. And then I'm actually probably gonna have to do, can I upgrade the stream? Okay, so I'll get Nitro over the weekend as well. So that way the streams will be 1080p, 60 frames, which will be a lot better. So as we said, from there, one opportunity is to just enter straight away on the retest of that. If the expectation is 5 minutes gonna hold as a 5-minute fair value gap. Right, that's valid. Other kind of opportunity would be now that we've hit this and cleared the short-term low respecting midpoint, say we close above, then on the next tap of that, if it was to offer one, that's when you could try again. Right, price has shown a willingness to respect it. So if we can trade into it, close above, next tap, we can try to look for it. This one did not close. It closes on the high. We want to see it actually close above. Not close on the high, close outside of it. Right, closing on it is good to see with bodies. But for the confirmation, we would much rather see the bodies close away from it, right? Not on side or on that actual key level. So honestly, as we said here, what we'd like to see, let's say that we're going to try to reuse this. We're going to have a bearish premium here now. So I wouldn't actually mind if we left that open for like this candlestick to respect that. Equal lows here to run out those equal lows. Maybe even have to retest buy side. But right after clearing those lows, and then if we could get above, that is when I would trust to try to use that. So there's that bearish fair value gap, right? We're going to watch that. Same idea though, if we immediately invert that, we could still look for the run higher. But I would almost expect for price to tap this to run out the lows, and then if we are bullish to reverse from there and get back above the 5 minute. 5 minute candlestick will close in about 2 minutes, so that'll give us a good, I guess, time frame to wait for as well. So there's the equal low sweep. Then we, as we say, if we displace above bearish premium, we may want to retest the original buy side one more time. So I'm allowing for that. Underneath pretty much this swing low, I would go back to being bearish. At least for like some of these lows. First presented potentially. Okay. So we have the opposing premium now. And now this is kind of where we'd watch, right? As we said, if we're going to clear these equal lows and hold the 5 minute, close back above with the 1 minute candlestick, you would almost expect that now to hold if we're going to want to retest it. I'd wait for the 5 minute to close, confirming that we've respected this as a 5 minute as well. At this point, this may hold us. Come back into the 5 where you can try to enter, and then look for another run, push up higher. If we want to stay strong though, we'll just invert this and then probably use that as a area of support to run the high. There's the high. From there is kind of when we would expect rejection. Closure above that, we should be able to keep running. Nice. So the bodies are making an attempt through the discount. That's what we'd want to see, right? We respect a little. We have just noticed very small. But when we left this 5 minute and traded into the opposing premium, we actually created a small fair value gap anchored to the low. So notice we use that, we respect it, and now we're just pushing higher. So nice. We should just keep running, as we said, for the high. That was pretty perfect delivery, to be honest, there. This becomes short-term buy side again. Oh. I forgot you want to see NQ. I'm fake. Here's NQ. So same idea. It swept its lows. Should reach for its high again. That's what I would expect here in ES. Now, two different areas of opportunity, right? So say you missed this entry. You might have missed that one too, actually. So that's what we were exactly what we're talking about with the confirmation. Okay, so we come back down into it. We create the low. We then respect this in the short term, that little premium. We sweep the equal lows, and then we close above the 5. So the very next test of the 5 minute would be entry. But that right there probably wouldn't have missed, because it's hovering just above that. But it's just good to see how we can go about, right, confirming entries. Perfectly valid, as we said, to just enter on the first test of it, because the 5 minute was untapped. So I'm fine doing that because it's a fresh 5-minute fair value gap. So even though we used it originally to get long and that was our trade for the morning, right? All of this was simply one 5-minute candlestick. So this run lower is the 5-minute candle retracing into that inefficiency, right? And that's why that's valid there. You could use 1-minute candlestick structure to confirm the entry, but the narrative remains the same. Still would expect buy side. So like if we came back down into this, I honestly would want to see that hold again and accelerate into this short-term high. We have a failure swing both in ES and NQ, so we're at the same point right now. Ideally, you would leave this low, but because it is pretty much a relative equal low as well, it still can actually revisit like the whole 5-minute. That's what we said. Buy side, original buy side pools, after clearing those, we can retrace into that. That'd be a little bit farther than I'd like to see. If we were going to test this, I'd want to see it be a wick and for the actual candle bodies to remain within the 5-minute itself, right? Because we have the wick pushing through the wick. So yeah, from here, pretty much want to see support. As you said, fall through this. We're going to have a short-term high being cleared, displacement below the low, failure swing followed by another break. Right, so breaker turn to mitigation. We may use the 5-minute, especially if the 5-minute is trying to close. Like if the 5-minute were to close underneath this 5-minute, that's when I'd look for the retracement into all of these untapped inefficiencies created on the leg up. But for the time being, as long as we're holding, right, I like this as being our kind of line in the sand. So it should support price for one more run onto buy side. NQ almost about to clear its low. So NQ picks up its low. ES has not. I think ES would catch up to that. And then as we say, if we're going to stay heavy, we'll actually close outside the 5. So there's the buy side pool. We said if that's going to be the lowest, we would need to see it reject with a wick and to hold the 5-minute itself. This 5-minute closed on consequent encroachment. So this is a new 5-minute candle, which is a little unfortunate because now we really would have to wait for that to close as well to confirm this 5-minute as a potential inversion. We can use the 1-minute though to give us an early indication. Like in my mind, if we were going to close under the 5-minute, I would expect that we're going to try to use that as resistance to get us back into this original fair value gap, because you notice that when we trade into it, we actually didn't get its consequent encroachment. So it can make an attempt to come and pick up the short-term low and tap the 1-minute's consequent encroachment here. But so far, we are getting that wick back inside the 5. So still holding that bullish idea. Bearish premium here and here. So if we are going to flip, we need to now invert that. We need to invert this and get above. NQ returning into its fair value gap. So kind of in the same spot. To be honest, if we were to invert this, I might try it again. I didn't want to do this one here just because we had a chance of this happening. But now that we've delivered into that buy side, if we get back above the 5-minute, we'll take one more entry today. We'll go like that. Depends on though whether or not we could even invert this, because for the time being, right, that's going to be a premium. Closure underneath 5-minute consequent encroachment, that could act as a premium. So we need to get back above both of those. And then we're still actually going to have this one, so that could cause us an issue as well. But for me, I would like to see that be inverted. We close on its high. We'll see what takes place here. Perfect delivery into its high. The 5-minute plus, we'll go 1-minute overlap. We've delivered into the 1-minute low perfectly. Yeah, so we're holding the buy side, but we've actually hit the low. That's where the wick goes. So from here, I'd almost want to see that wick be held. Like if we break through that wick, right, wicks become gaps. That's when my attention would go back into this. NQ runs this low out, so we'll see what happens now. Does ES want to catch up? Okay, so if we do get above this, oh, excuse me. Whoa, jeez. If we get above that, though, as we said, this one does cause a little bit of hesitation because we could hold that and break. We'll see what we do with this candle. Equal highs, so still not getting above. 5 minute will close as well. So this 1 minute candlestick will be the 5 minute closure. If it does close above, I'll probably just go in. It didn't close above. That's unfortunate. So it closes on the high. Which in theory, you could almost use this as entry now. A little bit higher risk, but this should be balanced. This price delivery in here. Midpoint. Yeah, that could hold us and break us again. That'd be the only issue. Still no closure above. So for me, that's nothing to do, right? As we said, this could be a potential entry using midpoint. I want a true confirmation above closing above the high, and then I would use it. This is valid though, right? If that holds. But for me, nothing. Had 5 minute close above, we would have used 5 minute high, but instead it closes on the high, and that could still reject price and send it lower. So that's kind of how I go about like preventing myself from entering. Right, unfortunately, that's what happens. We use that as a bearish premium. We fall into the low to 5. From here, we'll see if we can hold, but NQ is still breaking lower. So we'll see if it actually wants to catch up and take that low. Does the original buy side once again, NQ a little bit heavier. Honestly, I'll still wait for that same thing. Notice that we have a true liquidity void here. So when this candlestick closes to where this opens, not only is it aligned with the 5 minute, there's been no delivery into this candlestick's closure. So I'm going to see if that stays open. If it does, it'll be a pretty key area in price. Where if we were to invert that at this moment, I still would trust longs. Especially with NQ running lows, right? Running lows, ES failing to run that same low. So the liquidity void does stay open. So now it's just a volume imbalance, but it's more important than a normal one because, as we said, no delivery into this upside. So a true absence in price delivery. Whereas normally like this volume imbalance, right, you'll see it make an attempt to retest the previous candle. So because it didn't do that, if we were to get above that, I'd almost would like that as a potential long. Still understanding this may be an issue, but we're putting in some new PD arrays. If we were to do this, we wouldn't even need to get the actual buy side. I don't trust. This is very high risk in my mind because premium fair value gap has held. Okay. And still that holds, right? So nothing to do. Wicks, we don't care about. It's all about the bodies. Bodies tell the story. If we're going to hold underneath that, we're going to make another pass at lows. If we do SMT here, I think we will actually try that, which will be fine because it'll give us a pretty small stop. So getting stopped here will be less than half of the profit we already took. Two minutes. We'll wait 2 minutes. 5, we'll close again. 15, no type of inefficiency, right? It's all lower. That's what I'm thinking. If we give up buy side, we'll come back for these open inefficiencies, but we're trying to pretty much catch another run higher. You can see that liquidity void, right? Really acting up now. So this is the next 5-minute closure. However, this 5-minute candlestick closes. No, rejecting there again. So you see, like that liquidity void. This is a new area of interest. 1, 2, 3 straight closes right on that level. Perfect respect. As we said, this is the 5-minute candlestick closure as well. So if it closes under the 5-minute consequent encroachment, it closes right on it, of course. So at this point, I mean, hard to argue that, right? Look at that delivery there. Line in the sand. Nothing to do until we can get above that. If we can't, we're just going to slowly grind lower and keep attacking lows here. And I'm fine just watching that move lower. Right off that fair value gap, off the volume imbalance. I would rather try to get something back up into this original buy side we created. You got to set up at 8:30 for you here. Long. 9:30. I mean, that is nice. It respects 8:30 there. I kind of wish one of these lows would have run out a previous low, because now we're kind of getting a little funky. With a low, a higher low, and a higher low, like I want one of these lows to be cleared and then reject. So run out one of these areas of liquidity and then break above, and then I would try to use that for long. Oh, no short at 8:30. Oh, you're saying, yeah, okay, I see. Oh yeah, YouTube model right there. Short-term high cleared, displacing through a low, fair value gap left. Wick into the fair value gap once, twice, boom. Into previous day's high. Longs, honestly, were super clean. Higher, low, higher, yeah. Lower, high, lower, high, lower, high. Wick the lows. Previous day's high holds perfectly. Top quadrant of the opening range gap. Displacement above. Honestly, right, finally, we just had to get out of the damn range. We said if we can get out of that range, we should be all right. All right, so we might try this. This is going to be high risk, but I don't mind that. I just wish we would have cleared one of these lows, but we'll try to trust this here. 5-minute. How many minutes? We have 2 minutes until the 5-minute closes. We've closed above that for the first time. We're just going to try to use the midpoint of it, to be honest. Just one. And then 5 handles you can even get for the high. Don't even got to get higher than that. Oh. Huh. Yeah, I can't even. All right, well, we missed that. Man, that really hit. That's crazy, bruh. That's funny. Trading still surprises me. Not even. That's just more disrespect. Like, come on now. You're gonna hit my entry perfectly and run to my exit perfectly, and not have me be involved. That was comedy. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see. I mean, here. I don't mind that either. Yeah, that's the one thing. The one thing that I don't like about myself is sometimes we're a little too precise. That's happened plenty of times. I mean, y'all saw it. We hit our entry, man. We should have been entered there. We're gonna run right for it. So as we said, that's a very obvious line in the sand. That's a very obvious flip point. Liquidity void paired with the 5-minute as we run into liquidity. The moment we get above that, that's why I'm trying to use that. I'm not waiting for anything else because it's already shown that's going to be the key level by respecting it like this. So as we get above it, you guys saw entry was on midpoint. It just so happened that it was a little too precise. So it wicks into the midpoint, absolutely accelerates right into the buy side. So beautiful. We're just not involved on that one, unfortunate. At this point, I don't really want to... So like if we're going to expect that, right, we fell short of this 4 hour. So we've only wicked this high. There's still a chance that this actual, because notice, when we've created this displacement, we've left a 1-minute fair value gap here. There's still an opportunity that we've cleared this buy side but fall short of the higher time frame objective, engineering more liquidity so we can retrace into the untapped inefficiency. That's kind of paired with our 5-minute here, and that could hold us. Especially because this is the first time we've closed back above, right? We trade into the 5-minute here, here, we're still stuck. We've displaced outside of it. So I think I'm fine, actually. I'll leave this. If we get another test of that, so basically the 5-minute, we'll try to use that and get into the actual 4 hour. If we run straight into the 4 hour, we'll just miss that. But man, that was crazy. Too perfect. And I was thinking, I was like, I should just use the high of that. But I was like, no, that's less than a tick. If we use the low, that'll get tapped as well. Little did we know, too precise, it gets tapped perfectly and just moves. That's what we talk about with low. Like, as long as the ideas, right, make sense, and as long as I'm on side. Sure, it's funny to make fun of us for missing that, but all I can really ask is that we're on side, reading the market correctly. And that was pretty much a perfect read. Just no execution. So from here, I still like that. We'll try to use the 5, to be honest. Because now we've traded into the low. We've made multiple attempts to get outside. We can't. We get above, so it's balanced. So if it really wants to hold price, it shouldn't even test the low of it. So it should see, like, we'll just tap this and then we'll run away. Spot on, just too precise. That's what's happened a lot. If you've been around, you've seen that. Especially with exits. Entries, I'm fine. Missing entries, I get more upset when like we have an exit and it taps exit perfectly and then retraces on us and we don't get the exit. That's when I get a little salty. This will be it for us regardless though. Heading into 11 on a Friday, so we'll give it one more chance. Let's bring back up NQ. NQ didn't clear that high. Interesting. So yeah, I like this because if we are off sides, it'll fall through pretty aggressively in my mind. Like it'll run right through this and stop us out. Especially because this didn't run the high, but I'd like to see almost retracement into that and Q retrace, and then it blasts through and clears the high, running this high one more time to get into the 4 hour. However, as we said, this inversion may be what wants to hold now. So if we don't get the retracement, right, perfect delivery into that, as we also speak, wicks like this, wicking it and then displacing through it, that turns those wicks into gaps as well. So in theory, if we don't want to retrace, we'll actually just hold from here. And look at how that midpoint is already respected, right? So we're going to trade back into the wick. We're going to hold its midpoint. We're going to close above the wick and then use the high of it as our support to deliver us into the 4 hour and run out this high one more time. Oh, facts. You are correct, right? I'd rather be precise and start just throwing entries in because I miss. Just learn to laugh at myself. Give myself crap, but it doesn't affect the trading as much anymore. Whereas like before, I would be salty and try to push something, but now, as you said, if it comes back down, that'll give us another opportunity. But if we don't get that and we run in the 4 hour, we'll just miss that move. But as we said here, in my mind, okay, wicking, especially because we wicked the fair value gap the first time, pushing through that wick, that's going to be a new area of support. We trade into its mean threshold. We close above it. So now almost treating it like a fair value gap, we'd have the same idea that if we're going to want to just run straight for this high, the high of this should hold candle bodies now. And we're going to get an acceleration to run out this short-term swing point and hit our 4 hour. Be fume, yes sir, I would be. I'd say the market is rigged. They don't want us to be great. Okay. Yeah, we'll just follow this. I like this entry, so I'm going to leave it here. Try and get to 5. We're going to have a 5-minute fair value gap now. So if we could wick that, that's what we'll look for entry. Understanding that if we don't even want to do that, though, as we said, wick will hold. Okay. Notice the body can't even get near it. So body hovers away. I'd almost expect this next candle to be the candle that is going to push through this high. Once again, body's hovering away. So those are kind of like those little signatures that we're looking at to give us a feeling of what order flow wants to do. As we close above, bodies are starting to hover. So that's why I'm thinking if this closes, we should just run for this using the wick. Bullish volume imbalance. If that stays open, next candle should run the short-term high. If it closes in, we're going to run into consolidation at the old buy-side pool. But as we said, that stays open. We're going to run that high with the next candle or that actual candle. We'll just push through the high, leaving the volume imbalance open. Yeah, this is something that ICT taught kind of a long time ago, right? It's one of those things that's hidden within the lectures. Is that when we create wicks like this, so if you see a candle that has a large wick and the very next candle pushes through that wick, disregarding the previous pretty much price action, we can label those as gaps in price almost. Because if we were going to think on like a lower time frame, like if we had seconds time frames, right, this would be a swing high with a retracement. And then in one pass, a candlestick will trade through that high, leaving an inefficiency here on a lower time frame. So it's almost like using that fractalized understanding and just using it within the 1 minute chart itself, because we don't have like the lower time frames. But the idea is, yeah, wicks like this that get traded through can be treated as fair value gaps. And that's why we see, right, the respect there. Pretty much like it is a fair value gap in itself. And usually it has to be broken with the very next candle. So like here, right, we create a wick and then we end up trading through it. But it's after we've already printed candlesticks. Like if we're going to treat these ones, they have very specific rules where the very next candle has to pass through it, either high or low. Obviously this one was bullish, so we would treat that as a bullish gap in price. And you could just see the respect there, right? Perfect. So we did end up not, or I guess we closed in the volume imbalance. So to me, this is going to just be more choppy here for the time being. Still expect this high. Don't really expect to get entered at this point, honestly. But that's fine. Balance beep, yep. It's basically just a balanced price range on these lower time frames. That was still crazy. I can't get over that. That was hilarious. Look, as soon as I put in the limit order, it tapped it and went right to the exit. So you got to be quicker than that. You got to be quicker than that. We're playing around the high of it. That's fine. NQ, slight retracement into its fair value gap, so it could hold from there. Fair value gap in NQ. Wick and ES. 830 held. If we do fall through, I still don't mind. It's 1050, so maybe 1050 to 1110. If we left all these highs and came into our entry, I would like that, honestly, because now we have a lot of relative equal highs here that we could attack. 5 minute though, yeah, 5 minute fair value gap and volume imbalance. So I'd almost expect just a quick wick and a rejection. If we don't just run right, if anything, we'll just hold that. We're just consolidating below the swing point to accelerate through the swing point. Creating kind of like a double top, right? Little retail pattern to clear some liquidity. But yeah, 4 hour, too clean, should get there. What's our opening range at? Oh, okay. That's all one-sided delivery. Haven't even made an attempt into the opening range. Which honestly might, like, if we trade into the 4 hour, retracement would be nice. You're looking at the 15. Yeah, I need to get the premium again just so I could see those. I don't really pay too much attention to the lowest time frames anymore, but it's helpful at times. Okay, bet. So let's see if we can get entry here. As you said, we should be wrong pretty quickly as well. Like this will be a place because it's already balanced where if it's going to invalidate that, it's going to be a quick pass through. As we said, we do have a 5 minute here, so we may not actually get the deep retracement. I'd like to just be a quick fall, almost knife into it, create the wick there, and then reject. So we'll see. So there's the entry. Not too worried about the quick style. As we said, if it's going to trade into it, it's going to be a quick fall. And it'll be either quick through that to attack this low, or it should hold and try to run out these highs now. 1050 to 1110. This will be the last trade of the day. We ran this low in NQ, so I like that. That we picked up this low and we're still unable to get them here in ES. So from here, we'd want to see it push up. And I'll just target these relative equal highs again. Pretty much the same exact trade. Little 6-handle move. We'd want to see speed met with speed now, because we're going to have a bearish fair value gap. So because of that, and because of the displacement that we use to get down into this area, I'd want to see this be pretty much immediately displaced above. I don't want to see price start respecting this as a premium. If it does, that's when we would expect for these lows to be the target. Because now after clearing buy side, we've displaced, creating a premium aligned with, right, notice how that is perfectly the wick low. So we're overlapping a discount with a premium, which would often see price hold and send it lower, which is what I'm saying. Now that we're trading into this, I'd want to see that be pushed through pretty aggressively in 1 or 2 candles. Because if we start holding that at all, the expectation is we're going to make another pass for a low here and then be stopped out. So we'll see. We get above that, should be sitting good. Matter of fact, if we get above this, I'm already going to move my stop. We'll be quick to protect capital. It'll be below this swing low. Above consequent encroachment, I want consequent encroachment to hold. So we may come back down into the low, but because we've closed above its midpoint, I'd want to see the midpoint be what offers us support with the body anyways, right? We could wick maybe into the low. If we did that, we would immediately have to get above, because now we're going to have an immediate rebalance from this candle to this candle. We would need to see price move away from that aggressively. If it was to immediately rebalance and then stay within this range, this is still more of a bearish setup, right? Especially if it closed outside. So for the time being, we'll see where we're at. Midpoint of the original wick, so premium, right, inverted. We're stuck there. That's what I'm saying. We need to get above that, because that could hold price as a premium now. So we give that up. Not a big fan of that. We have a bullish volume imbalance. We'll see if that can stay open. We want something like this to close bullish. If this closes bearish, I think we come back for our low and we'll be stopped out. Because now we're holding a premium. We're creating a discount and invalidating that while closing outside of, right, that premium as well. So a few things that will be going against us. Gotta close that premium. Still using, oh, close this. Still using the wick. Retest entry point. Closure. Okay, so we would have to reject here aggressively. If not, as we said, we'll probably come for that low after holding that premium. Right, you could see it perfectly. We displace it. We then trade up into it with a body, immediate rejection. Displacing below fair value gap, we close in the bullish volume imbalance. That's a bearish signature. And now we close inside the 5. Right, so we'll probably want to come outside of the 5, reach for buy side, pick up some of these lows. But for us, we just commit to it. Right, that is our invalidation. So now that it's inside of here, not much to do. Just watch. Same idea, like if we give up and close below the 5 minute, I'd almost guarantee a stop out, because it's that original liquidity void that we're speaking of. Like, to me, this needs to hold price, especially because we've wicked this low. So it still does, but I don't like that the bodies are closing on that level. We need an immediate rejection, but now we have created a new premium here. Right, so once again, stacking premiums, those are going to want to hold price. We might not even get back up into that. Could just hold midpoint of the 5. Right, go to a 5 minute chart. 5 minute will close in 2 minutes. So after having this huge wick on a 5, if a body is to get underneath that, that's why we would expect it to actually fall through. So for us to feel any type of comfort Now we would actually have to invert this premium, because same idea as we said here, right? We create a premium where a discount used to be, those become the sensitive areas. Same idea, bullish fair value gap has been inverted with a bearish, creating a premium in its place. So replacing the discount with the premium. Closure below 5 minute, yeah, so we'll probably get stopped here. Using that as kind of the signal, right? Closure below the 5 minute fair value gap. I mean, it's going to want to reach for these lows. Buy side would have to be the last line of defense. So maybe. But in my mind, right, the fact that we're falling through these discounts means we're probably going to want to get this last low. This would have to be an immediate rejection followed by a displacement to clear this, or else stop loss. And then from there, that'll be it, because it'll be 11 o'clock. That's after our time window. We'll be 1 for 1, or excuse me, 1 for 2. But profits outpace the losers. And that's all you ask for. So from here, yeah, we would need to see an immediate next candle to push into this. Because now we have equal lows. But that midpoint, in my mind, right, that same volume imbalance that was holding price so aggressively is going to still be an issue. So as we look at this little area in price, we need to get above that first. Then we need to get above the premium. Then we need to retake the inversion, right? So we're going to have a lot of premiums to get through, which is why, in my mind, it's more likely that one of these premiums holds us and gets us stopped out. We'll move this for now and focus up on this. This is the new area of interest, right? That is where we'll find price holding us. If we can get above that, we might have a chance. We'll see. If we do close above our entry, stop will pretty much just go right on the buy side. So we'll be able to cut a little bit of risk, but it won't be too much. Can't even get into the premium. So that's another sign of heavy price. And look at the way it held. Is it going to hold the 5? It does. That's funny. So yeah, we can't even get into the premium. So that is another sign that it's heavy. Right, unable to even get into the inefficiency. So I'd watch for these equal lows now. NQ continuing to fall. I mean, you could, right? Like, if you really wanted to, if you wanted to be safe, this is where the true low your stop should be. Because this is the actual kind of range, right? From the low up to the high that we've created. So it could run this low, hold the actual OB and still run. That's fair. But for me, just kind of like looking at this, I'd be thinking like if it is going to run out this low, it's probably going to make an attempt to actually clear it, like reach for this low. That's what it's going to be reaching for. And if I'm off sides or wrong on that, that's just kind of where, right, you have to eat that stop and be okay with it. But no, I mean, that's perfectly fair, right? If that's kind of your risk parameter. We're also doing it just because the risk to award then at that point would be a little bit less than what I would favor. So I'm fine getting stopped and then re-entering. If it, like, say it did wick this, if it wicked us out and then it got above the 5, I'm fine re-entering. So that's why I don't mind having kind of these types of stops, because I'm able to re-enter if I get thrown off sides and then price continues as we would expect. Adhering to strict RR. I mean, I don't want to ever tell you how to, like, you know, manage your money, but I find it's better, or at least easier, like if I have an RR in mind, to not really go below that, because that's how you start getting like larger losses than your winners, and that's when the P&L can start taking a hit. Like if you start having larger losses and your winners are too small, just an issue. So in my mind, this is where we're going to reject aggressively now. Equal highs, equal lows, trade into a premium. If this holds, my expectation would be next candle clears the equal lows, especially if we could not get outside of the 5 minute, right? The 5 minute becomes the new area of rejection. Yeah, not good, not good. Need to accelerate above that quickly. Ooh, yeah, especially if we held that, because we're still holding the volume imbalance, right? That's really what we're holding. So if we wicked into the premium and close underneath that, we're getting stopped. I could almost guarantee that. Closure above this, we might have a chance. Wicking though and closing below, stop loss. All right, it's trying. We'll see. Still can't get above the 5 though. Need to get above the 5. Cannot close inside this now. As we said, this is our opposing premium. We cannot wick that and reject, or else we're not in a good spot. We need to displace that. If we hold that, GG's to us. NQ over here, swept some lows. So NQ continues to take lows, which I don't mind, because ES is able to hold this. But we need to see a push higher from here, for sure. As we said, if we invert this, stop will be below these lows. So we'll be able to cut risk. Matter of fact, if we get above this fair value gap, my stop will go right underneath the 5. Because now we've come into it once, 2, 3, 4 times. We've displaced the premium. I would not want to see these be retested. So we're above midpoint. I'd want to see midpoint hold now as support. If anything, using the 5 as this area of support. Best case scenario is we actually leave this fair value gap open. If we can leave this open, that'll also give us a good chance to look for higher price delivery. So I'd want midpoint of this to hold price, close above, leave this fair value gap open as a potential discount. So already we've tapped it. If we can leave any type of fair value gap though, that's what we're looking for. Right, so we'd want the wick, we want the body to hold pretty much here, leave some type of small fair value gap, and then best case is to actually close above the inversion. I'd agree, Mike, yeah. That's a good way to put it. As I kind of spent so much time now, like understanding, right, the inner workings that if I suspect a low will get swept, that's why I'm fine leaving. Because as I said, like in my mind, if we swept this low, we're going to come back down for this low anyways. So no need to open up and take more risk when the likelihood of, right, both of those being taken is pretty high. All right, we're still waiting. No closure above, but we're moving good here. Closure above, as we say. Stop loss will get moved. We got real close, but we trust structure. So I had nothing to be worried about, right? Let's see, 2 ticks from exit, but we're good. So now we need closure above this because we're retesting the original here. So this could still hold as well, which is why I want to see at least closure above one of them. Because if we hold both, where they overlap, that's the most sensitive area. That's going to be a big no-no. Can we get above? We cannot. Yeah, so you could see, right, where these fair value gaps are overlapping, that's where we're getting stuck. We wick into the high, we wick outside, body closes on it. If that becomes a swing point, that's not going to be a good sign. So ideally, we should try to get above this high. If price makes an attempt and can't, we might see it fall now. Need to get above it. We could run this high and reject. That's what I'm looking at. So I don't want that. We need to close above this high. And ideally close above this, because this could be a liquidity hunt and a rejection. And because of that, as we close here, stop loss could be here. We close above that swing, so I'm good there. So now we've been able to cut risk. Yeah, and now we can just let it rock. We either get stopped loss or we get our exit here. From buy side, right? Look at that. This is beautiful. That's why I just love price. Or I love at least these concepts. The precision it allows and the understanding is just, it's hard to beat, man. Hard to beat. Just gives you clear areas of like where price should and shouldn't go, how it should react. But now I'm looking at this and I'm saying I want this to be a breaker. I want this to hold us. Low, high, lower, low. Get above it. I want it to hold us because if we give that up, that means that we're going to get back below this original fair value gap, and that's not a good sign. So I'm looking at the breaker saying we need to hold that and get us out up here. Razor precision, baby. I love it. And that's what I mean when, like, it was funny when we were on the YouTube and that dude was just, Chris was all salty. First of all, I'm like, why are you salty, bro? You don't even know me. And second of all, I just ask people to look, like, just take the time to watch it yourself and make your own opinions. Right? No one's saying you have to go in and blindly trust. But I'm so confident in this stuff because I did just that, right? I went in as a skeptic, we'll say, almost trying to disprove what he's talking about. But over time, you see it over and over again. And it's hard to disprove it anymore. So you just start accepting it. So, like, yeah, to me, if we were to give up even this midpoint, we're probably going to come all the way back down. And I don't want that. Like, I want this current leg to be the leg that clears that high, especially because of the time we're in. If we can't get there by like 11:10, 11:15, we're just going to stay choppy. And more than likely, it's going to be an unfortunate, right? Because that's a 5 minute. So I didn't mark that. But this is a 5 minute fair value gap here. So that's going to cause us an issue. That's what we're seeing here. Right, perfect delivery into it. That's why I want to get above the 1 minute, because the 1 minute and the 5 minute are interlinked here. Yeah. I don't know. It cracks me up. We're past the point of ever letting those people like affect me, right? Because as I say, no one's gonna ever at this point tell me it doesn't work. Because I've seen it too many times. So it's just it's more entertainment. I just wish we could help people like that. I just feel bad. Because it's like, even if you don't believe what I'm teaching or what he teaches, why not spend time trying to learn something that you believe instead of, I don't know, being salty? Who knows? Some people are just funny. Exactly, right? That's what I believe. I'm throwing that it's algorithmic. And I've kind of even switched my belief that, like, I guess when I first heard of the algo, in my mind, what I thought was that, like, it's an algorithm that, right, will always tell price where, I guess, to deliver as far as price here, like the number. I don't necessarily believe that anymore. I think the numbers of, like, where price may go could be random, who knows? But the actual candlestick structure, that's what the algorithm is. Right, like for these candlesticks to print, and we've kind of talked about this before, like if you understand coding, it's actually coded into the web application of TradingView that if price is going to go up here, right, the candlesticks have to do certain things to get there. And that's what ICT was teaching, is how to find those little signatures in price. Right? What is it going to do before it actually moves to those areas? Which algorithmic reference points should it not break, right? The buy side, clear example. Now we're getting a little sloppy. If you're someone that didn't really want to be in this trade much longer, go and break even here is perfectly fine, to be honest. Because, right, as we said, we want the breaker to hold. We want its mean threshold to hold. So if we come back into the low of the breaker and you don't want to be involved, you can be here and just take the break even. For us, we're fine, especially because we already had the winner, taking a small stop if it comes back below the 5. Just in case it wants to do, right, another like wick. Ideally, though, we should just hold this breaker and just run for it. If we get above, here's what I'll do. If we can actually get above this, because this is going to be the 1 and the 5 minute. If we close above that, I'll go break even. That, I don't like that. We need to close above. I don't like seeing aggressive moves that wick, because then that is a liquidity grab with a rejection, especially when it's this close to our equal highs. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. We need to get above it. So at this point, closure above, I'm for sure going to go break even and just take a stop out if it gets there. Ideally, we just go for that. I can already cut risk here. That's not good. At this point, though, we're going to leave stop. So no more need to mess with it. Less than 2 handles. Very minuscule. Already had a winner. Closure above, I'll still go break even. But here we're getting a little sketchy, right? We can't get above that. We need to close above the 5 minute. One handle away. Look at that. Does not want to get above that sucker. Do it. All right. Again, rejection. Not good. And we actually close inside. Okay. We need to get moving here. We have equal high, so that's nice, but that may actually hold. If we can't get above this 1 minute here again with the body, it's going to be bad news, because that's going to be a swing high after clearing a short-term high, and it's going to make a pass for these lows, potentially revisiting the 5, right? Look at NQ. NQ ran those highs and ran this high as well. Midpoint needs to hold. Still the breaker here, right? Need breaker to hold. This is what we call a high resistance liquidity run. A lot of give and take. These are the ones that make you uneasy, right? As it's getting towards your exit and you see that it's rejecting. You may start feeling some type of way. You're getting nervous. Heart rate increases. But you have to understand you have your clear areas in invalidation, so you just have to commit to it. And if it came back all the way down and stopped us out, just part of it. At this point, we've already cut risk in half. So the original loss we would take is already reduced. So the winner will pay for plenty, right? And that's why I'm fine taking that stop if it was to come back. Just be an unfortunate. Yeah, so that becomes a swing high. I am. How'd you know, Mike? Oh no. You could hear it slurping. I try to keep it a secret. I was going to say something. And I was like, nah, Mike hates it. Mike's a hater. Matter of fact, I'm about to go refill because I just finished it. That's why I'm slurping, sucker. All right, at this point, we're getting to the point where like, all right, let's get stopped and let's run. Because we're zoomed in, right? But in reality, that's only a 5 handle range. So like, if we can't even get that, just stop us out. There's the 5. We'll see if we get stopped here. I'm looking at this little 1 minute fair value gap in this inversion. That's where my stop is below the original liquidity void that's been holding us. Because if we basically invert this, disrespect that, come back down, we're either just going to stay consolidating in this fair value gap. Got close to exit, nothing though, right? Hold the premium. So now we're going to look for pretty much these lows. And just high resistance. Couldn't get there. A lot of give and take. Once again, we'll see if we create a swing low here, create some type of inefficiency. A lot of give and take. pretty much need that to be a swing low. So we're going to leave some type of inefficiency here. What we would need to see is if this does remain, we need to push above that immediately or not. If not, we'll clear this low, we'll get stopped. So we leave that fair value gap right where we would expect. Okay. So from here, we'll probably either reject it, like we need to hold the 5 minute again. We would need to tap that and move away. If not, oops, we'll come for that low, and Q will stay heavy as well, and we'll just run out these stops, leaving that maybe as a breakaway for the time being to run into some buy side, or I guess it'd be sell side now, right? It was originally buy side, but now in the current kind of conditions, this becomes a short-term low equal lows for sell side. So we'll watch and see what happens, right? As we said, 5 minute high would need to hold to displace above the premium if we have any chance. Could probably just go 5 handles, to be honest, if it gets there. That's not good. Bearish volume imbalance. We need to hold the 5 minute, as we're saying. Because like we said, we've come into it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, displaced above it. So at this point, the high of it would be the sensitive area and price that we would need to see hold, which is why I'm fine with the stop. Because if we get below midpoint again, sure, we may wick, but at that point, it's a little late in the day. I'm fine just being out of a trade like this, right? When it's going back and forth. Matter of fact, if we invert this fair value gap, I'm going to go break even and just take that if we get stopped at break even. Because, right, as we said, the high of that holds. I'll actually put it below this low. Because in my mind, if this premium holds us, we'll come back down. So seeing if we can't displace that, we want to get above that. Instead, we can't. We're holding it. We're holding it. 1 second left. Midpoint. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. We'll leave in where it is at this point. But we'll probably reject. Let's see, 2 minute. Yeah, it's ugly. What's a 5 minute like? Right back into the 5. Okay. So unwilling to get above. Honestly, this is kind of where we would see these lows, like kind of we were speaking about earlier with how choppy it is. I could honestly see price running us out, clearing these lows, and still trying to get back and now run these highs with how much buy side we've created up here. Only chance to go higher was to turn this into an OB, so we would need to see the very next candle close above this. If it doesn't, I'm expecting stop. So this candlestick would pretty much need to hold and get right back above, because this will now be able to be an OB paired with our premium, which would give us an opportunity to run higher. So let's see. But at the same time, now this has become balanced because we've hit midpoint and closed below. So this will be a pretty key area, right? In my mind, if we get above it, we should be good. If we're offside, it's going to hold this candle right now, and this candle is going to wick. It's going to close underneath the fair value gap, and it's going to make a pass for this low, and probably where our stop is at. So this will be a pretty key minute. Closure above that, as we said, this will become an OB in my mind, anchored to a premium and the original inversion. So our stop loss can go below this low. Once again, mitigating risk. And we're just in this trade a little bit too long for my liking for a 5 handle move, right? Like, since we've entered, how long has it been? 30 minutes for 5 handles is crazy. Closure above, so yep, we can go below that low now. This should be the new low that holds if we're going to be on sides, right? Volume imbalance. We come into it. We create the order block, so I'd want this to be what holds price, which means we can move stop below the swing low where it's at. We should see it accelerate. If it wants to get this high, we should get that high. If it does wick that high or even touch that high, I'm immediately going to break even. Because yeah, as we said, that should be the new OB. And we're just getting ugly. And Q runs its high, right? So I don't like that. If this fails here. And NQ ran that high out. Hard rejection. Yeah, I don't like that at all. We're going under the OB. We need to catch up. Ooh, bearish volume imbalance. Just getting ugly in here. Notice we cannot get above. It's still that original bearish fair value gap. That's where we're stuck. Right, it's this and it's this. The 5. So that's the 1. And then the 5 is right here. So we got above the 5 once, but as we say, we need a 5 minute to confirm. 5 minute never did. We would need to see us accelerate from here at this point. As we said, this is a very high resistance liquidity run. SMT, not a fan. Need to see it go. Would not want a body to close below this at this point. Body below that, we get stopped. So we can wick into the inversion, but bodies need to hold this. As I say, if we give up that, in my mind, we're probably going to come back down for a low again to revisit this 5 minute. This needs to be a line in the sand. I like that. Perfect delivery into the volume imbalance. Now I'd want to see it followed with a run. Let this be a swing point. Get us above equal highs at least. And then try to get us out here. As we said, we test these equal highs, we're break even. In theory, you could go break even now. Volume imbalance, inversion, order block should hold. If it didn't, I don't really want to be in it. But with how minuscule our stop is and the win on the day, right, we could eat that stop and pretty much not notice it at all. But I'm still expecting this, right? Like, I don't want to see anything lower than this volume imbalance here with a body. Ideally, because we've hit the low of it, I'd want the high of it to be the new area of support. So that becomes the swing low we're speaking of. Ideally, the very next candle, with the bearish volume imbalance. So I mean, even with that, ideally this candle runs into these equal highs and into this equal high and into our exit. There's the equal highs again. Cannot get above. This is the 1 minute, right? That's what it's getting stuck at right here. We cannot get above that. We need to get above that. No problem, Scotty. Catch you next week, my guy. Goodness. High resistance. Closure above 1 minute. We should be all right. Right, this is the line in the sand that we're running into right now, as we reference. Closure above, I'd want to see the high of it immediately offer a support. So do that, move away immediately, and run these equal highs. I don't want us to dig back down, because now if we do that, we're just going to negate this candle closing above, and that's not what we want to see. Because we did close above, as we said, I'm break even. If we come all the way back down, I don't want to be involved anymore, and we'll just take a break even trade, end the day, 1 for 1. So now we've been able to fully mitigate risk. And now, free trade, right? So we either get TP or it's like nothing happened. Closure back inside, not a good sign. Because then, as we say, we're negating this candle closing above. Not a fan. Okay. Oh well. As we said, at this point, not really invested in any way. Risk-free trade. We'll go purely ES at this point, just to see how this final little setup plays out. Equal highs. We need to get above that. Ooh. Yeah, that's not good. We need to get above that. Oh my goodness. We did it. Well, there we go. All right, so that's an example of a high resistance liquidity run in a consolidation here. Even with that though, precision elements are still able to be found. That's always nice. Hey, thanks, Mike. Yep. That was a good read there. I agree. Back in the Discord, the OG spot feels nice. We'll do a quick little recap. All right, so first entry for us, waiting till 10 o'clock. We had this high. We were trying to see what happens at that high of day. We wick it heading into 10, retrace into the last discount, and then we accelerate at 10 o'clock. Huge displacement, closing above. We had a 5-minute here. That became our area of entry for the first entry. Looking for continuation. Ideally into the 4-hour, but only aiming for 5 handles. So we get long there. Stop loss below the 5-minute and the buy side. Targeting 5 handles. So we were able to top tick that first one, which was nice. Right, entry here. Exit right at the high of that. Consolidation. We ran out to short-term buy side. We said that we still want to see the 4-hour. That's going to be the draw. So we drag out the original 5-minute. As we trade into the low of it, displace above it with a 1-minute fair value gap. That becomes our second area of entry. So we retrace into it, leaving equal highs to target for buy side. But we retrace into it where we enter again. Have to sit through a little bit deeper retracements, just like we saw here, but we understood this swing low was our protected low. So if price did not want to break that, right, we should be safe. This one was a little bit longer hold. We actually ended up just going for 5 handles here. But as we get involved, right, we come back down into the low of the 5. We displace away. Once we do that, at this point, we're just following the discounts. So we said the 5-minute paired with the volume balance should hold us. It does. displaces away again, creates a new volume imbalance that should hold us. It does. And then ultimately, we get out at the high again. So 2 high ticks on the day. Nice. And then we actually should get, let's see if we just get the 4 hour real quick, just for satisfaction. Yeah, we'll just hang out. I just want to see us tap that. I want to see what kind of delivery we get into there. But we're done. Done for the day. Look at that 1 tick. Too close. It's going to get that 1 tick away. Oh, tap it perfectly. There it is. Nice. Cool. Well, there's our objective. As we said, don't even need to really get there to be profitable in this leg. Just nice to see though, finally. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll leave it there. If you guys are going to be around this afternoon, honestly, closure above that, that's almost continued bullishness. I would still favor continued higher prices, but we'll let it rock for the rest of the day. So yeah, that'll be it. Appreciate y'all for sitting in. You guys are the OGs for sure here. We'll be back on Monday. Let's see what we got for next week. Tuesday, high impact. Wednesday, high impact. Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All right. So we'll come back on Monday at 9:25 Eastern. And we'll see what we get then. But until then, have a great weekend, everybody. I'll make sure I get the recording uploaded. And aside from that, yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out this morning. We are going to have I think we'll do a webinar this weekend. I want to start doing that again since we got the private Discord rolling. So it'll either be probably Sunday afternoon. We'll just go over the previous week's price and then give our expectations for what next week would be, or at least what next week's expectations would be. So we'll start doing that again every weekend. It's good to kind of just do that and see what the week will offer. So yeah, plan for Sunday. I was gonna say, I'll ask you guys, I guess. Would you rather do it after the market opens on Sunday or before? Right. So if it was after the market opens, it would be a little bit later in the day. If not, it would be early morning, probably like 11 Eastern. Yeah, you are in a different. So maybe we do it early so you can be around. I forget. Because if we did it late, it'd be like middle of the day for you or middle of the morning. Okay, that's fine. We'll just do it Sunday morning. Yeah, middle of the night. That's crazy. Stay up. No, I'm just kidding. We'll do it Sunday morning. And then I'll just send out like expectations when the market opens. But yeah, Sunday morning we'll plan for a market recap and just a weekly webinar. So until then, stay safe, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. And we will talk Sunday morning. See you guys around.